The birthday they never remembered. And the card number they never forgot. Some people forget your birthday. Others remember your credit card number. Guess which one my parents cared about? Subscribe, because this story starts with heartbreak and ends with consequences. I turned 29 on a Tuesday. Not a milestone birthday. Not a dramatic one. Just a simple Tuesday. But it meant something to me. Because for the first time, I wasn't celebrating with anyone. No cake. No dinner. No flowers. No call from my parents. Not even a happy birthday text. It was like I didn't exist. And that feeling. The feeling of realizing your own family doesn't remember something so basic. Lodged in my chest like a stone. Ironically, they remembered something else. Something very specific. And I wouldn't discover it until 2 days later. The day everything changed. The forgotten day. The morning of my birthday. I woke up to a quiet apartment. Sunlight slipping between the blinds. A cup of coffee brewing. My phone on the kitchen counter. I checked it, expecting a message. Nothing. I stared at the blank notification screen. No missed calls. No, love you, sweetheart. No voicemail from mom's overly cheerful voice. No dad pretending he remembered on his own. When mom was actually nudging him. Just silence. I sighed. Told myself not to take it personally. They'd forgotten before. Between my sister's engagements. Breakups. Career promotions. Meltdowns. Re-engagements. And health scares. I was the easy one. The strong one. The one who understands. Translation. The one they don't bother with. The sibling dynamic. My sister, Melanie, was the beloved golden child. Dramatic. Beautiful. Messy. Expensive. High maintenance. My parents loved her chaos. Because it made them feel useful. She needed them. I didn't. So they invested all their energy into the child who created storms, instead of the one who quietly rebuilt after them. It used to hurt. Now, it just felt normal. Sad, but normal. Still, I had hoped they'd remember. Something as simple as my birthday. They didn't. I didn't even cry. I just stared at my phone. And went to work. The dinner with me, myself, and I. That night, I treated myself to dinner. A small Italian place. Warm lighting. Soft piano music. The kind of place you go when you don't want to feel alone. Even when you are. I ordered pasta. Wine. Tiramisu. The waiter brought me a candle on top of the dessert. Happy birthday, he said kindly. I forced a smile. I was grateful. I really was. But no matter how much you pretend, nothing replaces hearing your parents say it. 2 days later, the call. On Thursday, at 7:42 a.m. Mom finally called. I stared at the screen. Mom. She answered enthusiastically. Like she'd been waiting for me. Sweetheart. Hi. Good morning. Not a hint. Not a single sound. That she had missed my birthday 48 hours earlier. I swallowed. Hi, Mom. She exhaled dramatically. So listen, your father and I have been so stressed. We've had such a long week. She laughed lightly. Anyway, I wanted to ask you something really quick. There it was. The ask. Not. Happy birthday. Not. I'm sorry we forgot. Just. The ask. Sure, I said slowly. What's going on? Well, your father and I were thinking. She dragged the sentence out. Testing the water. We deserved a trip. My stomach tightened. Oh. Yes. An all-inclusive resort. 5 nights. Oceanfront. Spa package. Adults-only experience. She giggled. Something we really, really need, sweetheart. That sounds nice. It is, she said. And the best part? We found a great deal online. I waited. Her tone shifted. Light, almost sing-song. So, we were hoping you could help us with your card. I blinked. My card? Yes, dear. Your credit card number. My hands froze. You want my credit card number? Yes. Just to book the trip. We'll pay you back. Right, honey? I heard Dad grunt in the background. Of course we will. She wasn't asking. She was assuming. Because in their heads, I was reliable. Stable. Responsible. Her word. The banker. They didn't remember my birthday. But they remembered. My card. They remembered. Every number. Every detail. Every limit. Every benefit. Me? I was forgettable. But my money? Never forgotten. The betrayal reveals itself. I inhaled deeply. So you want me to pay for your vacation? Mom laughed loudly. Oh, sweetheart, don't say it like that. It sounds so harsh. We're just asking you to help your parents relax. You know how stressed we've been. I stared at the wall. Mom, you didn't even remember my birthday. Silence. Total silence. Then she said, "Oh. Is that what this is about?" A wave of heat flooded my face. Mom. You forgot. You didn't call. You didn't text. Well. She scoffed. You could have reminded us. My voice cracked. You want your daughter to remind you that she exists? She sighed. You're being dramatic. Anyway, the resort only has 2 rooms left. So can you just give me the card number? We already picked the dates. Translation. Your feelings don't matter. Your birthday doesn't matter. But your money does. The final straw. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I simply said, I can't. Her voice sharpened instantly. Why not? I have bills. Responsibilities. A life. You're single, she snapped. You don't have kids. You have more than enough to share. So my worth is based on my wallet? She huffed. Oh, don't be dramatic. Just send the card number. Your father already picked out the spa package. Something in me snapped. Not loudly. Quietly. Like a string pulling too tight. And finally breaking. I whispered. You didn't even remember my birthday. But you remembered my card number. Mom didn't even bother denying it. Well, yes. We wrote it down because you said we could use it in emergencies. My heart stopped. The vacation is an emergency? Dad yelled from the background. We deserve this trip. I whispered. And what do I deserve? Silence. Then Mom said coldly. We're your parents. You owe us. There it was. The sentence that killed any guilt I'd been holding on to. You owe us. They didn't want me. They wanted access to me. My money. My effort. My emotional labor. Not my presence. Not my birthday. Not my humanity. Just my card. I swallowed hard. Mom. I can't help you. Her voice sharpened like a knife. Fine. If you're going to act like this, then forget we asked. No problem. She hung up. No goodbye. No love you. Just bitterness. 2 hours later, the notification. I was sitting on my couch, still processing the call, when my phone buzzed. A fraud alert. Suspicious activity detected on your card. My stomach twisted. I opened the notification. And there it was. For charges totaling $3,780. At Sunset Pearl All-Inclusive Resort. The same resort my parents wanted. I blinked. They asked for the card earlier. I said no. And then they used my card anyway. How? The answer hit me like a punch. Years ago, my parents had borrowed my card for a home emergency. I had given them a physical card. They must have copied the number. They still had it. They still had access. And they still used it. Without asking. Without shame. Without guilt. They forgot my birthday. But remembered my card. And that was the moment I realized this wasn't forgetfulness. This was entitlement. This was exploitation. And this time, I wasn't letting it go. Confrontation, cancellation, and the ally I didn't expect. They thought a card number was a shortcut. They forgot debt remembers names. My fingers hovered over the fraud alert. For transactions. Same vendor name. Same date stamps. Same audacity. My throat tightened. Rage rose like a tide. I scrolled through the bank app, authorization codes, hotel merchant IDs, confirmation numbers. Cold little facts that felt like evidence clanking together in my hands. I called the bank. The customer service rep politely told me to breathe. We'll block the card, freeze charges, and start a dispute, she said. Her voice had an automatic calm that almost tricked me into being reasonable. I wasn't reasonable. I was furious. I called my mother. She didn't answer. I called my father. He answered on the first ring, laughing in the background like someone who's just gotten to the best part of a movie. Hi, sweetheart, he said cheery. We just booked the room, ocean view. You should have seen the spa menu. I cut him off. Dad. You charged my card. There was a pause. A weaving of words. A low cough, then Dad's voice. Oh, well, you said we could use it in an emergency. This isn't an emergency, I snarled. This is a vacation. You used my money without my permission. Sweetheart, relax. No. I asked you to call and you didn't. You didn't even remember my birthday. But you remembered my card number. I want the charges reversed. Now look, you don't have to be dramatic, Dad started. I felt heat in my cheeks. I'm not dramatic. I'm not your automatic ATM, transfer the payment back right now. On the other end, Dad's tone slid into that specific, practiced guilt manipulation. We're your parents. You owe us. I froze at the line. Those words again. The knife used before. The same sentence that said they valued me only for what I could give. You don't get to demand that, I said slowly. You used my card illegally. I'm disputing the charge. You will lose the room and the spa if you don't reverse it. A sigh. We'll talk about it when we're home. When you tell a thief calmly and clearly they are a thief, sometimes they try to gaslight you. Sometimes they run. Sometimes they pretend the law is optional when it's their child doing the threatening. I hung up and called the bank back. Please expedite the dispute, I said. This is unauthorized use. I gave them the card years ago for an emergency and they never returned it. You can file a police report, the rep said. We can issue a temporary refund once the investigation clears. A police report felt like escalation. It was. I wasn't afraid to escalate. The resort call. An hour later I received a call from an unknown number with a heavy accent and the chime of hotel hold music in the background. Sunset Pearl Resort, reservations, a woman said. May I help? Yes, I said. You have a booking under my card number. It's unauthorized. I gave them my name, the confirmation code that appeared in the transaction details, and asked them to cancel. We cannot cancel without a confirmation from the person who made the booking, the woman said. Our cancellation policy is 48 hours, and you are within it. However, if you can provide ID and the cardholder's authorization, we can start refund processes. Do you have proof of who stayed? I asked, my voice low, reasoning into action. Names on the booking? She read off the reservation name. My parents' names. I felt an odd, flickering relief. They hadn't been smart enough to hide even that. Okay, she told me. I can mark it as disputed and send a hold notice. I'll also email you the photo ID they provided at check-in, if any. The next email dinged, a snapshot of a card imprint and a scanned ID that looked suspiciously like my mother's driver's license. There was breathing room in the paperwork for a bank to breathe. I texted my sister Melanie. Did you know Mom and Dad charged my card for an all-inclusive? I typed, naked honesty. Her reply was almost immediate. They told me they were using your card. They said you said it was fine years ago. No sympathy, neutral, like everyone had an opinion but no responsibility. I felt alone. But not helpless. The confrontation. That evening, I drove over. I needed to look at them. To see the faces that had forgotten me but remembered my credit limits. They were both in the living room with suitcases open, tropical shirts, sunblock samples strewn across the coffee table, Dad humming to an old radio song. Mom was holding a printed itinerary like a trophy. Surprise. Dad squealed when I walked in. This is not a surprise, I said. This is theft. Melanie peeked in from the kitchen, spoon in hand. Hey, big sis. You okay? Did you know they charged my card for the trip? I asked. Melanie's eyebrows went up. They asked me to help them find flights but Mom did the booking. Did you think it was okay? I said, my voice controlled but loud enough to break the room. Dad started, you're being unreasonable. We were in an emergency. You lied. I walked closer until the air between us tasted metallic. You forgot my birthday. You can't even say sorry, but you can remember how much to charge on my card the second you want to drink cocktails in the sun. Mom's mouth opened. That's unfair. Fair? I shook my head. Fair is remembering my birthday. Fair is asking and getting my permission. Fair is not using someone like a cash machine. Dad's face hardened. You'll regret this. That sentence landed like a practiced threat. It was the same cowardly echo I'd heard before. Fine, I said. Then you will. A surprising ally. As I turned to leave, a voice called from the hallway. Maybe there's a middle ground. It was my neighbor, Mr. Alvarez, a retired auditor with a knack for numbers and a blunt, comforting way of speaking. He'd heard the raised voices and popped his head in like someone catching a rainstorm. You folks might want to consider the consequences of unauthorized charges, he said. Banks don't like disputes, but they like police reports less. I worked a case in my day where a family member forged a signature. It doesn't end nicely. Dad bristled. This is family business. It's fraud, Mr. Alvarez corrected. He looked at me. Do you want to make a report? My stomach flipped. I wanted justice more than drama. My pulse steadied. Yes. He nodded slowly. Good. But I can help you make the case stronger. I blinked. You'd help me? He shrugged. I can't stand seeing people take advantage of good kids. Besides, I have time and a little experience with paperwork. He stayed through the confrontation. He sat in the living room and listened. He took notes. Occasionally he asked calm, pointed questions, dates, copies of texts, screenshots of the bank alerts. He suggested we photograph the itinerary and the printed confirmation before my parents had time to hide anything. Mom mouthed shame at me. Dad went red with fury. Melanie went quiet, finally watching instead of mediating. The first move. That night, when the house settled and the suitcases lay open like abandoned promises, Mr. Alvarez walked me through what to do next. I would call the bank again and request an expedited fraud investigation. I would file a police report for unauthorized use of my credit card. I would collect all physical evidence, the printed itinerary, email confirmations, and any receipts, and photograph them with timestamps. I would quietly check my credit report for any other suspicious activity. If necessary, I would file a small claims action for emotional damages and unauthorized charges. Mr. Alvarez's voice was steady and oddly comforting. You don't need to be belligerent. You need to be precise. Let the law do the yelling. I slept the night for the first time all week. But sleep didn't calm the ache. It turned it into a plan. The parents realize they're not invisible. 2 days later, a voicemail landed in Dad's inbox from the resort, reservation on hold pending confirmation. Guest requests for partial refund due to dispute. I watched him listen, watched his face drain when he realized a hold could mean losing the package and his precious spa. He snapped at Mom. Call her. Fix this. Call Leah and tell her you'll reverse it. Mom's voice, once chirpy, now thinned into panic. We can't show weakness. People will laugh. People will do worse, I said, stepping in. My voice surprised even me, level, efficient with no drama. The bank will issue a chargeback if they find it's unauthorized. You'll get a fraud inquiry. That itinerary on the table? It's evidence. My mother's lips trembled. Dad swore under his breath. You think you can scare me, he spat. You'll regret blaming your own parents. Maybe, I said, and for the first time the word felt like a shield rather than fear. Maybe I will. But maybe you won't like the consequences of stealing from your child. Melanie watched, visibly uncomfortable, finally. Guys, just give it back. It's stupid. He glared at her. Back off. The cliffhanger. That night I filed the police report. The officer was kind but direct. We see family disputes like this. But unauthorized charges are serious. We'll take your statement and send a copy to the bank. The bank sent an automated confirmation of the dispute. The resort sent up a pending hold notice. My phone buzzed at 2:14 a.m. A new email, chargeback initiated. Refund pending investigation. For a sliver of time, I felt righteous, vindicated, like the scales had shifted. But then my mother called, a shaky voice this time, no bravado, and said, we need the trip. We booked non-refundable activities. If it's cancelled, it's your fault. The old guilt machine tried to kick into gear. But I felt the weight of the police report in my pocket. I had Mr. Alvarez's watchful eye on my side. I had evidence. They'd thought they could slip my money into sunlit drinks and return to their lives. They hadn't imagined I'd fight back. And they certainly hadn't imagined the next move I was planning, one that would teach them, gently and permanently, that remembering my card number doesn't mean they own me. The trip that never happened. And the humiliation that did. They wanted paradise. What they got was public humiliation, and the beginning of my revenge. 2 days later, the trip began. Not for me. For them. My parents packed their bags, boarded their flight, and texted a single smug message. We'll talk when we're back. Translation. We'll talk after we enjoy the vacation you involuntarily funded. But what they didn't know was that the resort had already placed their room under a chargeback investigation hold. Meaning, no extras. No upgrades. No spa. No drinks charged to room. No all-inclusive privileges. And they were required to present a matching physical card on arrival. They didn't have one. They only had my card number from years ago. I knew exactly what was about to happen. And I wasn't wrong. The resort disaster. The phone rang around 1 p.m. An unknown number. I answered. A woman with a sharp, professional voice said. "Is this Ms. Carter?" "Yes. This is Maria from Sunset Pearl Resort. I'm calling regarding your fraud report." I sat up. "Is everything all right?" She hesitated. "Well, your parents arrived." A smile tugged at my mouth. "And?" She inhaled sharply. "They attempted to check in using your name and your card number." I nodded slowly. "And then?" "We informed them that due to the chargeback, the reservation required the physical credit card used for booking. They did not have it." "I see. They insisted the reservation was theirs." My chest warmed. "And what did you tell them?" Maria exhaled. "I told them the reservation belongs to you, not them. And without the cardholder present, the booking cannot be honored." I closed my eyes, savoring the moment. "And what happened next?" Maria lowered her voice. "They caused a scene." "Of course they did." "What kind of scene?" I asked. "Your mother shouted about being the rightful guest. Your father accused us of stealing their money. Security had to intervene." I pressed a hand over my mouth to stifle a laugh. "And the final result?" "We canceled the reservation." She paused. "And security escorted them off the property." I choked on my own laughter. My parents, dressed in tropical outfits, dragging their large luggage, screaming about injustice as staff and guests watched. That was the most poetic karma the universe had ever delivered. Maria added. "We've also submitted your fraud documentation to the bank. Your refund will be processed in 5 to 7 business days." "Thank you," I said sincerely. "And Ms. Carter," she added. "Yes? For what it's worth. You're better off without people who do that to you." The comment hit deeper than it should have. "Thank you," I whispered. We hung up. And I burst out laughing. Not petty joy. Not cruelty. But the cathartic release of someone who has been pushed around for years and finally watched the bullies fall into the hole they dug. The calls start rolling in. My phone buzzed 10 minutes later. Mom. Dad. Mom again. Dad again. Melanie. Unknown numbers. I ignored every single one. Then Melanie texted. "Call me. Now." I sighed and called her. She picked up on the first ring. "What did you do?" she shrieked. I rubbed my forehead. "Hi Melanie. I'm fine, thanks for asking. They got kicked out of the resort." "I'm aware. They're stranded. They said you set them up." I chuckled. "They set themselves up. I warned them. They used my card anyway." "You could have handled it better," she snapped. "Like how?" I asked calmly. "By letting them keep almost $4,000 of my money? Or letting them walk all over me again?" Melanie went silent. I could almost hear her brain working. Then, softer. "You told them no?" "I told them to pay me back. They refused." She sighed. "They shouldn't have done that." My eyebrows lifted. "Wait, are you agreeing with me?" "Partially," she mumbled. "They still shouldn't have been humiliated." I laughed dryly. "Oh, now humiliation matters? Yesterday you didn't care when they humiliated me." Forgot my birthday. Used my card. Treated me like a wallet with legs. Melanie was quiet. Then. I didn't know it was that deep. It's always been that deep. I said. You just never looked. Silence. Then Melanie whispered. They're mad, but I'm not stupid. They shouldn't have done it. I felt something shift in my chest. For the first time in years. Melanie wasn't blindly taking their side. The parental attack. At 5 p.m., Dad finally sent a message. A threat disguised as a guilt trip. You embarrassed us. We looked like criminals. Fix this. Now. Then Mom texted. We're stuck. It's your fault. You need to pay for a new room. You owe us for raising you. There it was. The word again. Oh. As if children come with a receipt. As if love is a loan with lifetime interest. I typed one sentence back. I owe you nothing. Mom exploded. We are your family. This is how you repay us. I replied. You forgot my birthday. But you remembered my credit card. I'm done. I blocked them both. And for the first time in my life. The silence felt like peace. The unexpected visit, and what it triggered. At 7 p.m., there was a knock at my door. I opened it expecting Melanie. Instead, it was Mr. Alvarez. He held 2 folders. A clipboard. And a determined expression. Ready? He asked. I frowned. For what? For the next step. He stepped inside, sat at my table, and opened the folders. I've seen families drain their own children financially. You think this ends with one charge? I swallowed. He placed paperwork in front of me. This is your credit history. We check for other accounts they may have opened using your info. My blood ran cold. He continued. And this is a form to set up credit freezes across all bureaus. They won't be able to open anything in your name again. My chest tightened. Mr. Alvarez, are you saying? Yes, he said calmly. They may have done this before. I felt nauseous. He wasn't being dramatic. He was being realistic. He tapped the table. Tonight, we check everything. I stared at the papers. At my life. At the truth I had been too gentle to consider. My parents weren't just forgetful. They were opportunistic. Entitled. And possibly reckless. Maybe even criminal. And this wasn't going to stop. Unless I stopped it. I sat down beside him. Grabbed a pen. And whispered. Let's find out. Mr. Alvarez smiled softly. That's the spirit. The first red flag. As we scanned my credit report. We found something. A department store card. Opened 5 years ago. Under my name. A card I never signed for. A card with a balance. Paid off suspiciously fast. My hands shook. What is this? Mr. Alvarez didn't flinch. They're testing limits, he said. Small accounts. To see if you'd notice. I felt sick. You're saying they used my identity? He looked me in the eyes. I'm saying it's very possible. My pulse pounded. Not from fear. But from realization. My parents weren't just taking advantage. They were using me. My credit. My name. My financial future. And the all-inclusive trip? Wasn't a mistake. It was a symptom. Of a deeper pathology. A pattern. A way of life. I sat there in shock. Until finally. Something in me hardened. I'm done, I said quietly. Good, he replied. This is where your revenge begins. The pattern of betrayal. And the moment I stopped being their victim. Some parents teach you right from wrong. Mine taught me the difference between love and exploitation. The night we discovered the department store card, my entire world tilted. I had always assumed my parents were careless, insensitive, self-centered, not dangerous, not deceitful, not the kind of people who would open credit lines with their daughter's name and expect she'd never find out. But the evidence was there. In printed screens. In store records. In my own credit file. A card opened under my name. Activated. Used for a holiday purchase. Paid off quietly. Once. A test run. To see if I'd notice. To see what they could get away with. And now, years later, they were bold enough to book a nearly $4,000 vacation with my card number, because they assumed I'd do what I'd always done. Stay silent. Pay for their mistakes. Carry their burdens. Be the reliable daughter they only valued when convenient. Not anymore. Not after this. The full audit. Mr. Alvarez wasn't finished. He wasn't even mildly surprised. Which scared me more than the discovery. People don't go from $0 to $4,000 theft overnight, he said. They escalate. They test. They grow bold. We combed through my credit report line by line. Most of it was clean. A few hard inquiries I didn't recognize. Small banks. A furniture store. A payday lender. Not opened. Not approved. But attempted. My pulse pounded. They tried opening more accounts, I whispered. At least 4, he confirmed. My stomach twisted. It was like watching a puzzle form. One I never wanted to see. They've been doing this for years, I breathed. And I never knew. He nodded sympathetically. You trusted them. That's not a flaw. But trusting the wrong people is how identity fraud begins. I tried to steady my voice. What do I do? Do I confront them? Not yet, he said. You collect every piece of evidence first. You freeze your credit. You forward everything to the bank. You protect yourself legally. I nodded slowly. Then he slid a final sheet toward me. This is the form to press charges, he said quietly. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. While it's fresh. While the paper trail is clear. My hands trembled. Are you saying I should charge my own parents? He leaned forward. I'm saying your parents committed a crime. Whether you press charges is your choice. I stared at the paper. At my name. Their names. The police report number already listed. A part of me still wanted to believe. They wouldn't do this. Not intentionally. Not to hurt me. But the evidence didn't care about intentions. It cared about facts. And the facts were ugly. Very ugly. The parental meltdown. At midnight. My phone started blowing up with messages. First Mom. We need to talk. Now. Then Dad. You're embarrassing us. We were kicked out in public. Then a barrage. How could you betray us? You're making us look like criminals. You owe us for everything we've done. You're selfish. You're disgusting. Each message more vicious than the last. Until the final one. If you don't fix this, you're dead to us. I stared at the phone. Something cold settled inside me. Not sadness. Not fear. Clarity. If parents can tell their child they're dead to them because she refused to be scammed, they were never real parents. They were opportunists who happened to share DNA. I blocked their numbers. I sat back in my chair. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilt. I felt free. The betrayal I didn't see coming. The next morning, Melanie showed up at my apartment. No warning. No knocking. Just banging on the door until my neighbor peered out to check the commotion. I opened the door cautiously. She barged in. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she snapped. I blinked. "Good morning to you too." She slammed her purse on the table. "You ruined their trip. They're humiliated. They're furious. And guess who they called? Me." I folded my arms. "Did they tell you the truth? That they used my card without permission? That they said you lied," she snapped. "And made it look unauthorized." I stared at her. She stared back, eyes blazing with loyalty that had nothing to do with morality. "Melanie," I said carefully. "They stole from me." She laughed bitterly. "A credit card number? Please. You act like they robbed a bank. That's literally credit card fraud. They're our parents. They're criminals." She stepped back, stunned. "How can you say that? How can you not see it?" She rolled her eyes and crossed her arms. "You always play the victim." I froze. Victim? The word echoed like a slap. I stepped closer. "Melanie," I said slowly. "What else did they tell you?" She hesitated. Her eyes flicked away. Then she whispered. "They told me. They told me. You've been planning this. To ruin them. To make them look bad." I laughed. A humorless, sharp laugh that made her flinch. "They told you that?" "Yeah. And you believed it?" She swallowed. "I don't know." "No, you do know," I said harshly. "You always know. You always take their side. No matter how wrong they are. That's not fair." "Yes, it is," I said. "And you know what else is fair?" I walked to the kitchen table and slid the printed credit report toward her. She read the first line. Her face paled. She read the second. Her breathing hitched. She read the third. Her knees nearly buckled. She looked up at me, horrified. "They opened accounts in your name?" And tried to open more. Her mouth opened and closed like she couldn't form words. I pushed the bank dispute paperwork toward her. "And this is the resort charge. Almost $4,000. She stared down at it. Slowly. Quietly. Her anger drained out of her. Like air from a punctured balloon. Her voice shrank. "Why didn't they tell me this?" "Because then they'd lose their favorite defense mechanism," I said quietly. "Their golden daughter believing they can do no wrong." She looked ashamed. Genuinely ashamed. "I didn't know," she whispered. "I know," I said gently. "You weren't supposed to know." Her eyes filled with tears. They told me you cost them everything. But they cost you everything." I nodded. She looked at me, voice shaking. "What are you going to do?" I picked up the police report form. Held it between two fingers. And finally said the words I'd been avoiding. "I'm pressing charges." Melanie inhaled sharply. "Against our parents?" "They're not acting like parents." Her eyes glistened. "Can I help?" I stared at her. The golden child. For the first time in her life. Standing beside me. Instead of in front of me. "You really want to?" I asked. She nodded slowly. "They can't keep doing this. Not to you. Not to me. Not to anyone." A lump formed in my throat. For once. My sister had chosen me. The final straw. I picked up my pen. placed it where the signature line waited. Melanie placed a gentle hand over mine. "You're doing the right thing," she whispered. I believed her. I signed. The ink dried like closure. Mr. Alvarez stepped into the doorway, having come over to check on me, and nodded in approval. "It's time they learn," he said. "Family isn't an excuse to commit crimes." And as I folded the report and prepared to deliver it, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "I know what you did. You'll regret this." And it wasn't from my parents. It was from someone else. Someone I hadn't expected. Someone even more dangerous. The threats, the debt, and the night everything caught up to them. You think you know the worst about someone, until you see what they do behind closed accounts. The message sat on my screen like a black stain. "I know what you did. You'll regret this." Not from Mom. Not from Dad. A different number. A different threat. I stared at it, my heart pounding. Melanie looked over my shoulder. "Who is that?" "No idea," I murmured. But that wasn't true. A sinking feeling began forming in my stomach. Because I knew exactly who would threaten me. Overpressing charges on stolen money. Someone who benefited from it. And unfortunately, my parents had a lot of financial shadows I had never looked into. I blocked the number. But the damage was done. There was more to this story. Much more. The investigator calls. The next morning, I received a call from the bank's fraud investigator. Her voice was calm, professional. "Ms. Carter? I have an update regarding your credit card case." I sat upright. "Yes?" We ran a deeper analysis. "There's something unusual in your credit file. Multiple small credit pulls from retailers, energy companies, consumer loans." "Yes," I said, "I noticed that. We assumed it was my parents testing boundaries." She exhaled. "That may be partially true." "Partially?" "We found a loan application from 6 months ago, attempting to use your name and social security number for a $15,000 personal loan." My blood ran cold. "What?" "It was flagged and denied because the income documents didn't match. But the attempt was logged." I gripped the table. "Someone tried to take out a $15,000 loan using my identity?" "Yes." My pulse hammered. "Was it my parents?" The investigator hesitated. "We cannot confirm without a subpoena. But the IP address on the application matches a residential address." "Which address?" A pause. "Your parents' home." My body went numb. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a one-time convenience. It wasn't just a forgotten card number from years ago. It was identity theft. Over and over. Slow at first. Then bold. Then reckless. "Ms. Carter," the investigator continued. "This is no longer a simple dispute. This is a criminal matter. If you press charges, we can escalate." I swallowed. "I already filed a police report." "Good," she said. "That will help. We'll send your report to the district attorney's office, along with our documentation." My hands trembled. This was real. This was happening. And then the investigator added, "One more thing. Your parents didn't act alone." My head snapped up. "What do you mean?" "There is a second name attached to the attempted loan application. Someone who submitted supporting documents." My heart pounded. "Who?" She said the name. And the world tilted. "Eric Carter." I whispered. "My cousin?" "Yes." The cousin connection. It felt like betrayal layered on betrayal. Eric was my dad's sister's son. The favorite nephew. The one my parents bragged about at every holiday gathering. The one who had once borrowed $500 from me. And never paid it back. He and my parents were close. Too close. And suddenly the text made perfect sense. The threatening message. I know what you did. You'll regret this. That wasn't guilt. That was fear. Fear of losing access to the identity and credit line they had been quietly exploiting. I stood abruptly. Melanie watched me, worried. What happened? I handed her my phone. She read the investigator's notes I typed out. Her face going pale. Eric, she whispered. No, he wouldn't. Mel, I said, he already has. She sat down hard. But, how? Why? When? Because money, I said bitterly. Always money. The second wave of panic, from them. Around noon. My parents finally got some signal in the airport. Or the taxi, or whatever hotel they'd been dumped outside of. 3 voicemails came through. I didn't listen. But the transcript said enough. We need to talk. Fix this now. Do not involve police. I almost smiled. They knew. They knew something bigger was happening. Something they couldn't control. Something they couldn't bully me out of. Melanie asked quietly. Are you afraid? No, I said. For the first time. I think they are. The visit to the police station. Mr. Alvarez drove us. Melanie came too. She insisted. The officer at the front desk recognized me immediately. You're the credit card fraud report, right? Yes. Good timing, he said. We've just received documentation from your bank investigator. We need your signature to escalate. I signed. Melanie signed as a witness. Mr. Alvarez nodded in approval. Then the officer said, We'll be visiting your parents' residence today. For questioning. My breath caught. Today? Yes. Identity theft is serious. Attempted loan fraud is even more serious. I exhaled. It was happening. The wheels of justice were turning. Melanie finally sees the truth. As we walked out of the station, Melanie grabbed my arm. I'm sorry, she whispered. I looked at her. For what? For believing them over you. For letting them paint you as dramatic. For letting them treat you like a stranger. When you're the one keeping this family afloat. I felt my eyes burn. She hugged me suddenly. Hard. Tight. I'm with you now, she said. No matter how ugly this gets. I hugged her back. Mel, thank you. She pulled back, her expression fierce. They're not going to get away with this. Not anymore. For once. My sister wasn't the golden child. She was my ally. The blow-up, and the call that changed everything. At 6:42 p.m. My phone rang. Same unknown number as before. I answered this time. A panicked voice yelled. What did you do? Eric. My cousin. The one whose name was on the rejected loan application. I kept my voice calm. I protected myself. You ruined everything, he shouted. You got the cops involved. They're coming to your parents' house. And they're looking for me too. Oh, I said with icy politeness. So now you're worried about consequences? You're dead to this family, he spat. I smiled. For once? That sounds peaceful. He hung up. Melanie stared at me. That was Eric? Yep. And he's involved, she whispered. Oh, very. She looked sick. He spent so many holidays with us. Birthdays. Cookouts. And he used my name, I said. And Mom and Dad let him? I nodded. Tears welled in her eyes. I can't believe it. I thought they loved us. They love what we can give, I said softly. Not who we are. She sobbed. I put an arm around her. We're going to get through this, I whispered. Together. The final moment, the police arrive. At 8:13 p.m. I received a text from the officer. We are at the residence now. Your parents are refusing to cooperate. My heart thudded. Then, 20 minutes later, a knock at my door. I opened it. The officer from earlier stood there. Behind him, 2 detectives. Ms. Carter, the officer said formally. We need a statement from you tonight. Your parents attempted to interfere with the report. And we found something at their home. You need to see. My breath caught. Found what? The detective held up a plastic evidence bag. Inside it, a folder. With my name written on the front. And inside that folder, copies of my social security card. My old license. My bank statements. And a credit application with Eric's handwriting. Melanie gasped. I staggered backward. My head swam. My own parents had kept a file on me. A file used to open accounts. Apply for loans. Steal money. Steal identity. Steal my future. The detective spoke quietly. This is more than fraud. This is premeditated. And it involves multiple parties. I swallowed hard. My voice cracked. What happens now? He sighed. We're recommending charges. Against all 3. Melanie burst into tears. I stood there shaking. Not from fear. Not from shock. But from something heavier. Something frighteningly clear. Resentment was gone. Sadness was gone. Only justice remained. The arrests, the courtroom, and the day I finally let them go. Some family teaches you to forgive. Some teaches you to survive. Mine taught me when to walk away. I held the evidence bag in both hands. Hands trembling. Heart racing. As everything finally sank in. Not just the vacation theft. Not just the forgotten birthday. Not just the guilt trips. Not just the manipulation. But the truth. My parents hadn't just used me. They had built a system to use me. On purpose. For years. My identity. My credit. My financial future. They had been quietly carving into all of it. Like termites chewing through foundation beams. While smiling over dinner. The detective cleared his throat gently. Ms. Carter. We need you to come down to the station for a formal statement. Melanie squeezed my hand. I'm coming with you. For once. She wasn't just the golden child. She was my sister. The station, truth finally spoken out loud. Inside the fluorescent-lit interview room. I told the full story. From the forgotten birthday. To the credit fraud. To the resort charges. To the hidden department store card. To the loan applications. To the identity file found in their home. Every piece. Every detail. By the time I finished, the detective looked both angry and heartbroken. You don't deserve this, he said quietly. No one does. I swallowed hard. Thank you. He glanced at Melanie. And thank you for supporting her. Most families fall apart during cases like this. Melanie straightened. Some families should fall apart, she whispered. It hit me harder than I expected. A truth spoken aloud. By the daughter who once defended them no matter what. The arrests. It happened the next morning. A tapping on my phone woke me up. 6 messages. All from neighbors. Police are at your parents' house. There's a patrol car outside. They're taking someone out in handcuffs. Then Melanie called. Her voice, trembling. They arrested Mom and Dad. I didn't cheer. I didn't laugh. I didn't collapse. I just closed my eyes. And let the realization sink in. The cycle was broken. They couldn't touch my finances anymore. They couldn't guilt me anymore. They couldn't access my identity. They couldn't manipulate me. They couldn't use me again. And for the first time in my adult life, I felt safe. The family reaction, meltdown of the century. My aunt, Eric's mother, called Melanie, screaming. How could you let this happen? Your parents are good people. This is a mistake. Melanie responded calmly. They stole her identity. They stole money. They lied. They opened accounts in her name. They dragged Eric into it. Stop pretending they're saints. A pause. Then the coldest sentence I'd ever heard. Then you are no longer my niece. Melanie didn't blink. Okay. She hung up. For the first time. She didn't cling to their approval. She protected me instead. The hearing, the truth comes out. 3 weeks later. We sat in a courtroom. Not a dramatic trial. Just a preliminary hearing. But the tension? You could slice it with a knife. My parents sat at the defense table. Wrinkled. Angry. Ashamed. Or pretending to be. My father looked at me. With pure bitterness. My mother looked like a collapsed tent. Eric sat in another row. Sweating through his dress shirt. The judge read the charges. Credit card fraud. Attempted identity theft. Unauthorized use of personal financial data. Conspiracy to commit fraud. Attempted loan fraud. Possession of stolen identifying documents. My parents' lawyer tried to argue. This is a family misunderstanding. The judge raised an eyebrow. A misunderstanding does not involve multiple credit applications, stolen Social Security documents, and nearly $4,000 in unauthorized charges. Melanie squeezed my arm. You're doing the right thing, she whispered. Then, the judge asked if I wanted to speak. I stood. My voice shook. But my words didn't. Your Honor, I began. I didn't press charges because of money. I pressed charges because of a pattern. My father scoffed. I continued. For years. They forgot my milestones. They forgot my birthday. They forgot my humanity. But they always remembered my account numbers. My information. My finances. The courtroom was silent. I swallowed and added. I didn't come here for revenge. I came here because if I didn't stop them, they would have kept going. And eventually, there would be nothing left of me to steal. The judge nodded slowly. Thank you, Ms. Carter. I sat down. Melanie gripped my hand so tightly. Her nails left marks. The sentencing decision. The judge didn't throw the book at them. But he didn't go easy, either. They received 2 years probation. Mandatory financial restitution. Court-ordered financial counseling. A no-contact order unless I initiated contact. A requirement to repay every cent. A permanent mark on their financial records preventing them from opening accounts without oversight. A protective flag on my credit file that prevents anyone from opening anything in my name again. Eric received 6 months probation. A fraud warning on his record. A mandatory financial ethics course. A ban from being associated with my identity in any form.